Having broad shoulders is something that has been considered attractive for hundreds of years, long before gyms and bodybuilding ever even existed. To clearly see this, you don't really need to look any further than the way that tuxes and suits have been designed for generations. All suits have the shoulders padded up because we're subconsciously attracted to that V shape. Having an upright posture with wide shoulders and a narrow waist not only communicates that you're healthy, but it also makes you look more confident and more like a leader. Fortunately, we're no longer only limited to just padding up our suits to make our shoulders appear wider. There are certain exercises that can help build up specific parts of your shoulder, allowing you to maintain that natural V shape even without a padded up suit. And first, I want to start with the most obvious exercise, which is the lateral raise. But we're going to do a variation to make the exercise much more effective. Normally, most people will do lateral raises standing perfectly upright. And even though this isn't necessarily wrong, it's not the best way to perform the exercise if you're trying to add width to your shoulders. For this to make sense, you have to understand that the shoulder has three heads: anterior, lateral, and posterior, or front, middle, and back. To build width, we'll primarily want to develop the middle and the back of the shoulder. Most people wind up overdeveloping their front head instead because of, on top of isolation exercises like frontal raises that target the front of your shoulder, most people are still also doing plenty of compound pressing exercises like bench press and military presses, which also primarily target that front head. So to focus on the middle of the shoulder, we do lateral raises, assuming that we're completely isolating the lateral head of the shoulder when standing straight up. However, when done this way, the front of your shoulder will be very highly involved in the movement, almost equally as much as the lateral head that you're trying to target. So to better target the lateral head, as well as some of the posterior head, you'll want to lean forward. You can do this simply by starting the exercise with your dumbbells in front of your hips rather than to the sides of your hips. This will naturally put you into the correct leaning forward position. Then, without swinging your back, you would raise both dumbbells directly to your sides with a slight bend in the elbow, making sure to keep the elbows slightly above your wrists. You do not want the dumbbells coming high up above the elbows. Continue to bring your arms up until they're parallel with the floor, and then lower back down to the starting position with the dumbbells in front of your hips. If you have a bad back and if it bothers you to lean forward, you can also do this exercise seated by sliding to the edge of a bench, leaning forward, and then passing the dumbbells under your legs for each rep. Let's move on to the next exercise, which is a bent over reverse cable fly. This one will target the posterior head or the back of your shoulder, which is also very important for building up that wider look. To perform the exercise, stand sideways to the cable and bend your upper body almost until it's parallel with the floor. You can use either a handle attachment or you can grab the cable itself. In either case, you'll want to keep your arm extended with a slight bend in your elbow and aim to bring the cable directly to the side of your shoulder, even with your upper body and parallel to the floor. When raising up, you want to again make sure not to bring your hands higher than your elbows. Another excellent exercise is a variation to a dumbbell upright row, which some people call bent arm lateral raises. Now, regular upright rows with a barbell can help us build up the traps and the shoulders, but they also carry the risk of shoulder impingement. Taking a wide grip and only coming up to the sternum decreases that risk of impingement, but the risk is still there if you accidentally come up too high or if you have poor shoulder mobility. So to still get many of the same benefits without the heightened risk of injury, you could perform the exercise with dumbbells and with a slight variation. To begin, you would once again start leaning slightly forward with arms bent, holding two dumbbells resting in front of your hips. Then, while keeping the elbows bent at about a 90-degree angle, you're going to want to raise the dumbbells up to shoulder level, but unlike the upright row, you're going to keep your hands in front of your body rather than sliding a barbell up along your body. This will prevent the excessive internal rotation that we see with the regular upright barbell rows. At the top position, your elbow should be either parallel with your wrists or slightly above your wrists. Then lower the dumbbells back down to that original starting position in front of your hips and repeat for reps. An additional benefit of this exercise is that you'll be able to lift a heavier weight than what you would normally be able to do for regular lateral raises. This is because your elbow is bent rather than being extended, creating a shorter lever length, giving you more leverage. For this reason, once you master the exercise and you have good form, you should be using more weight with this one than with what you're using with regular lateral raises. Next, we have one of the most effective exercises for the back of the shoulder, the reverse dumbbell fly. First, you want to grab 2 dumbbells and bend forward at your waist. Make sure you keep your chest up and your shoulder blades back to protect your lower back. The further you bend forward with this exercise, closer and closer to 90 degrees, the more you'll isolate that posterior head. On the other hand, at a 60-degree angle, you'll be incorporating your lateral head as well. Both angles are great and both should be incorporated as you change up your exercises over time. For this demonstration, we're going to bend forward until the upper body is almost parallel with the ground. Both dumbbells are going to be hanging directly under the line of the shoulder. Next, we want to mimic a hugging the tree motion in reverse. So again, elbows should be slightly bent, and we're going to raise the dumbbells directly to our sides in line with the shoulder, keeping the elbows above the wrist the whole time. You can also perform this exercise seated with your upper body bent over your knees. Keep in mind that you'll have to use substantially lighter weights for bent lateral raises than you would for something like regular lateral raises. Another variation that would require you to use lighter weights while helping you build up that lateral head and increasing shoulder width is the leaning lateral raise. This exercise is great because it helps us work the shoulder in a way that's just not possible with regular lateral raises. The first 30 degrees that you raise the dumbbells during a regular lateral raise requires minimal work from the lateral head of your shoulder, and instead it's mostly done by the supraspinatus, which is one of your rotator cuff muscles. It isn't until after we pass 30 degrees that the lateral deltoid becomes the prime mover. However, if we perform the exercise by grabbing onto something sturdy and leaning away from it, we're able to keep more tension on that lateral head throughout the entire exercise. To begin, make sure you plant your feet close to whatever you're holding onto, and then extend your arms so that you're leaning far enough away to the side to create a unique angle. Apply the same form tips that you would with regular lateral raises. So start with the dumbbell hanging down, and then as you raise the dumbbell up, make sure you keep that elbow slightly bent and above your wrist. Raise the dumbbell until your arm is parallel with the floor and your hand is even with your shoulder. Then you're going to lower back down and repeat for reps. Now, moving back to the cables, we have the high cable reverse flies for the back of the shoulder. Here you can again use the handle attachments, or you can just use the cables themselves. Start by raising the pulleys until they're above your head. Next, you'll want to stand upright facing the cable cross machine. Using your right hand, grab the cable on your left, and with your left hand, grab the cable on the right. This is your starting position with both of the cables crossed over in front of you. Keeping that same slight bend in the elbow, bring your arms back and outward while really squeezing the shoulder blades tight together before returning back to the starting position with both your arms crossed over. Then repeat for reps. Another great cable exercise for the lateral head is the cable lateral raise. Normally this would be done by facing the cable with your side, grabbing a handle attachment behind your back, and then performing lateral raises. And even though this is very effective, I'd like you to try a little different of a variation this time that can help you take your front deltoid out of the movement and put more tension on the middle and the back part of your shoulder. Instead of the cable being behind your back, you would be in a straddle position with the cable in between your legs. Next, you'll want to lean slightly forward and raise the cable directly to your side until your arm is parallel with the floor. When performing the exercise, make sure you're standing close enough to the weight stack to make sure that the cable doesn't come too high up. You can also use the cable to effectively do leaning lateral raises by simply holding onto the metal beam that the pulleys slide up and down on, and then you would lean away. This will once again keep the tension on the shoulders for a much larger range of motion than regular lateral raises. Another great cable exercise that involves both arms at the same time is the cable crossover lateral raise. Here you would start with both of the pulleys set at the very bottom, and then you would have your back facing the cable cross machine. Then, just like with the reverse high cable flies, you'll grab the handle to your right with your left hand and the handle to your left with your right hand so that your arms are crossed over. Next, you'll hinge your hips slightly forward and bring your arms up until they're parallel with the floor with that slight bend in the elbows. And those elbows, again, keep them above the wrists. Then you would return back down to that starting position with your hands crossed over and repeat for reps. And finally, for the last exercise, I want to go over one more lateral raise variation that can be very effective when done correctly, and that's the incline lateral raise on a bench. To perform this exercise, you'll want to start by setting up an incline at about a 60 to 75 degree angle. You can go further down, just keep in mind that the further you decline the bench, the more you'll be working the back of your shoulders and the less you'll target the lateral head. Take a seat facing forward towards the bench and lean your upper body against the bench. From this position, you want to take your dumbbells and raise them directly to your sides until they're parallel with the ground, and then bring the dumbbells back down to that original starting position where they're hanging off to the sides of the bench, and then you're going to repeat for reps. This exercise is really great because it eliminates the possibility of using momentum from your back since you're leaning forward against the bench the whole time. So those are all 9 shoulder exercises that you can do to help give you more of that V-taper appearance. One thing to note is that some people recommend that you turn your pinkies up and your thumbs down for all of your lateral raising movements to help target more of the lateral head. While some people will have no problem with this, other people can potentially hurt their shoulder by internally rotating their arm too much. So I recommend keeping your hand in a neutral position when doing lateral raises just to be safe. Also, if you want to take these exercises and use them for a shoulder workout, you'll be able to get at least 2 separate workouts with all 9 of these exercises. I recommend at least 4 to 5 exercises using challenging weight for 3 sets of each, aiming for about 10 reps per set. Also, keep in mind that dumbbell shoulder presses, Arnold presses, and military presses should not be ignored. Even though they are compound exercises that will use a lot more of the front of your shoulder, they will help you develop and define the rest of your shoulder as well. So that about wraps it up, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I release new, free tips and tricks just like the ones you found in this video. Also, if you're looking for a done-for-you diet and workout plan that'll help you build up your shoulders as well as all the other muscles in your body, check out my Lean Bulking Program. This program is designed to help you build muscle while staying lean, and it comes with a 90-day workout plan, a flexible meal plan that allows you to eat the things that you want while feeding your muscles and burning the fat. The workouts are also designed to help you break through strength plateaus to ultimately help you build more muscle by utilizing methods like undulating periodization and reverse pyramid training. Lastly, you'll be provided with an accountability coach to help guide you through the whole process. To find out more, you can click the link below in the description, or if you want one-on-one coaching for your specific, unique situation, you could visit my website directly at gravitytransformation.com, and then you'll fill out the application form. Hope this video has helped. I'll see you guys soon. Pump it.